Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at United Health. It is time for another update, and on the long time frame we are tracking this green interpretation where we have a double 1-2-1-2 setup that has developed, and then we have a third wave up and now a fourth wave to the downside. Now within this wave 4 we expect to hold support in the area between the $260 level all the way down to the $96 level. And as long as we hold here above the 50% retracement, we can track with high likelihood a reversal to the upside in the fifth wave that would basically take us to new all-time highs. Now, if we actually happen to break the 50% retracement, it would most likely be an invalidation of this entire interpretation in the green scenario, where we would have to shift to a different scenario that wouldn't have probabilities that would work out as nicely as within this interpretation, and it would not be a good sign for the chart altogether. Now, internally, within this wave 4, technically it wouldn't be complete. I would still like to see another low within this wave 4 based on how the current structure has developed the current bottom, and that is because it is a 5-wave move to the downside. And within the wave 4, we don't really expect a 5-wave move, only if it is within a triangle, and this is certainly not a triangle. So for the expectations to be complete within this wave 4, I am looking for a larger ABC pattern within a zigzag correction. Now at times it happens that we get a 5-wave move and we just push straight up, and it happens, but the likelihood of that happening is quite reduced, and it is not something I will even consider really, as long as we stay below the resistance area we have here in white, especially below the 78.6% retracement at the $510 level. So as long as we stay below that point, I am still looking for continuation to the downside with another leg down, and that is not to say that this wave B correction, or where within this ABC structure, it is not to say that it cannot go all the way up to that level, but at the moment we are even tracking here an internal structure within this wave B. In fact, we have two working scenarios for this interpretation, and one of them could develop in a couple of ways actually. So within this wave B, we have the blue scenario that is actually looking for another zigzag movement to the upside in an ABC structure, where we have the A wave complete, and we would now be looking for the larger correction in the wave B, and we have a support zone for such an idea between the $307 level all the way down to the $257 level. And again, as long as we stay above the 78.6% retracement here, I am looking still for further upside within this wave B, assuming that it is following this blue scenario, and if it breaks below, the likelihood of it still pushing higher is reducing substantially, and we could get a more direct push to the downside within the C wave, where the B wave in that case could have possibly completed. Now, I don't really have a full count within the wave B at the moment, so that is not expected necessarily. I am quite hopeful that we will either see continuation within this pattern in the wave B, either within the yellow interpretation or the blue interpretation. Now in the yellow scenario, we are instead tracking an ABC structure in a more direct fashion, where in this case we could even complete the entire correction in the wave B all in one go. And we could already start the C wave to the downside afterwards, but even in this case it could develop in different ways, where either this could still extend in a larger ABC structure, so the A wave doesn't need to be 5 waves, it could also be an ABC pattern, and then we would be looking at a larger ABC and basically have an even higher wave B most likely, or it could even really develop as a triangle to the sideways in an A, B, C, D, E structure, and then we go lower. But regardless of that, for now we are still tracking what we have in this area, and the area of most focus is specifically within this movement to the upside, where within the the blue interpretation, we have a complete wave here, and we have the A wave complete, so we would be looking for a larger ABC structure within the B wave in blue. And let me make this a different degree. And then we also have the C wave in yellow, where we are looking to form at least some sort of a 5-wave move to the upside, where technically right now we still have the possibility to develop this in a way that it could still be an impulse, so we could actually see several highs before we top here in this area. And I provided you in the previous video this support zone for the yellow interpretation that allows us to retrace in the wave 4 all the way down to the 61.8% retracement at the $324 level. And as long as we stay above that, we can still track continuation to the upside. But so far we are still above the 50% retracement, so technically we could even continue to track here an impulse where we could actually see several pushes higher within this 5th wave. Now, it isn't necessarily a high likelihood interpretation for me. I would rather expect this to develop within the diagonal structure, where we are really only looking for an ABC movement and have this 5th wave complete, this C wave complete, and even this B wave possibly complete. So now in this area we can track both interpretations now that the price has developed some newer structure that we can track. And for continuation here to the downside, I am looking either at this either as a possible ABC pattern within the blue scenario, where I can even give you an ideal target for a wave C, but you need to be prepared because this is not certain that it will develop as an ABC structure, because really this could be a larger movement in a 1, 2, 3, whoops, let me draw it that again, 1, 2, 3, 4th and the 5th, and this could be an A wave in blue, and then we could get, let's say, a zigzag correction in a wave B, and then another 5-wave move to the downside in the C wave, where it could realistically take us quite deep within this blue zone correction for this larger wave B. And in that case we need to be prepared for further downside than what we would necessarily expect within this wave C. But assuming that it really is developing just an ABC structure here, we would be looking at an ideal target at the 100% extension, the $326 level. And if it really is a 3rd wave to the upside, or sorry, to the downside within this movement, we would be looking at an ideal target at the 138.2% extension at the $316 level instead. Now, as well as tracking here the movement to the downside, we can actually still track upside potential even from the current local low we have here in the wave 4. And in that case, I would be looking for an ABC pattern, especially since the movement to the upside that has developed in this area is clearly only in a 3-wave structure. And in this case, we are looking for support in the area between the $346 level all the way down to the $337 level. And in this case, as long as we stay above this 78.6% retracement in yellow, we can still track continuation to the upside with a decent, or let's say sufficient degree of likelihood. But as long as we stay below the 78.6% retracement here in blue, we have the risk of still following through in this larger movement that could even turn to be a 3rd wave to the downside. And at the moment we are very much in between scenarios, and we need to be patient with the structure and also very flexible, because realistically, if we push here directly to the upside within this wave C, we could see a top in quite a quick fashion, and in that case we would also need to be prepared for maybe an exit. If you want to do that, I'm not telling you what to do, but we also need to be open to the idea that we will not get another high in this area, and we are in a pretty large correction that could take us realistically all the way down 25%, and then still be looking for continuation to the upside in the wave C to fulfill this larger pattern in wave B. And for now, these are the levels, this is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe and let me know what else you want me to cover, and I'll do my best to do that in the days and weeks ahead. And until then, I hope you have a nice day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.